This is Chantelle Fiddy, not 50. I've always enjoyed writing from a young age, short stories, poetry, what have you. And I decided, actually, oh, you know what? I didn't decide to do journalism at all. I was going to do fashion promotion, but I didn't get onto the course. So I ended up doing a journalism course, and I went to the London College of Printing, now called London College of Communication in London. And from there, I started honing my skills and went to do work experience with Vince Jackson, who was an old editor at Touch magazine, who was putting together the Time Out Carnival Guide. I worked with him for 7 or 8 weeks full time on that, and then got a break through him working as editorial assistant at Touch. So in my final year of university, I was doing 2 days a week for Touch, you know, no money, but walked out into a full-time job when I graduated.
Who was the job working with Touch?
That was with Touch, sorry, yeah. So I went into staff writer at Touch after graduation, and I was there for about 6 months full-time. And then the magazine closed down, and I thought, oh my God, end of the world. It was actually like the best thing that ever happened to me, leaving there. That's no disrespect to Touch. It's more though that it made me get out there and kind of, I guess, pursue new, you know, avenues that I wouldn't have maybe done if I'd been at Touch, because I didn't need to freelance. I didn't feel, but this way I had to go out, get loads of work, and it was hard. It took me a good 3 months to kind of build up a good repertoire with various magazines and actually earn some money, which I'm still not really doing now. I was a jungle kind of girl initially. Used to go to the jungle things, but I got into it at the end because I was too young, as it were. So I went to like Dreamscape 21 when I was like 16, something. And I remember my mum telling me, you know, be home by midnight. It's like, Mum, we don't even get going till midnight. But after that, I tried to get into the garage thing. As in, I liked some of it, but for me, I'm not really about all the, you know, the bling and the designer brands. I've never owned a designer brand in my life. It's just not me. So I used to feel a bit out of place. I don't wear high heels. You'll never catch me in high heels, so don't get your hopes up, John.
He's lying.
So I think, yeah, one day I was into the whole So Solid, you know, movement, rah, rah, rah. Picked up Dizzy Rascal, I Love You on white label. You know, you just get a tune and you're like, oh my God, what is this? Didn't kind of know how to describe it when I was trying to review it. And I was just getting so excited that whenever someone came up to the Touch office, like Rodney P and Skits came up, I played them a tune, I was like, what do you think to this? And it was the first time I'd ever heard someone like Rodney P and Skits say, yeah man, we play this. I kind of saw that that sound could cross over into different markets, so I was madly, madly excited. It took me 6 months to get like Dizzy and Wiley into Touch. This is still way before they were signed up though. But my love kind of grew from there, because I saw that it was going to be really hard. No one was really paying attention, but I was really excited. I thought this could be a really, really big thing. It was new, and I felt like I like hip hop to a point, but I can't really relate to a lot of it. So you know, like you're listening to the lyrics, and it doesn't really mean much to me. And I liked it because it felt a bit more. It felt like a bit of an education, if I'm honest. So a lot of stuff they're talking about it might happen to them every day, but if you've not lived around that, it's kind of new to you. So it was a learning experience at the same time. The music was exciting. And it was just original, you know. You wanted to play it. Yeah. Whereas a lot of the stuff you get sent like the garage and that is like you're playing it because you have to play it. One of those ones, and you know when you don't know where someone's going to go. Yeah. That's really exciting. And someone at Touch magazine had said to me, look, it's really, really good to find a niche. And I was looking around me, and there's a lot of people writing about R&B and hip hop and doing it a lot better than me. I didn't have the knowledge, and I didn't really care for it too much. So I thought, you know what? Let me just roll with this, see what happens. Sucks, and it's good at the same time. It's a bit of both, you know. Like, it's to your advantage because you're in the minority, so you stand out a bit more. And there's no denying that certain people are going to judge you on the way you look. So if you're a fat old bird, you're not going to get into this job. So I've got to be really careful now with what I eat. No, I'm joking, but seriously though, it has been very, very hard. And I think because girls as well as guys, they just go groupie, blah 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 blah. They don't think you know what you're talking about. And I still feel even now, despite, you know, having built up my credentials and my CV, that a lot of people would still rather listen to a guy than what I have to say, even though I feel I'm far more qualified. Okay, I think Pay As You Go for me were a big turning point. That was like an interesting experience, going down to the Champagne Dance video shoot and getting to speak to them all. Although I do remember God's Gift saying to me, I'm not doing interviews today. You know, like going on all stiff back then. Still like it today now, but it was good, and I managed to build up, you know, good relationships with people like Target and Genius, and they're people now I still respect and, you know, work closely with. Other than them, obviously Wiley and Dizzy have always played like an integral part in things. And there's other people who I've you know, worked with for a number of years, but not quite so closely. But my whole thing has been, if I like your music, I'll write about you. That's it. Even if you are a waste man or woman. We didn't know it was grime for a start.
Okay.
That was like
Where that name come?
Do you know where did the name come from? Well, I think initially, obviously, it was hard. We were like describing it as, you know, dark garage, or this sounds grimy. So it started kind of coming from that. But when obviously you get the big debates going on, don't you? Oh, what are we going to call this? You can't decide really to name a music something unless you're doing it by yourself. Like Static with his grindy thing, that's cool. He can do that. But with grime, it's just like the majority are going to win. People were trying to push the whole sub-low. Then there was the Esky. There's all these other names coming, but they applied to much smaller things. Like Esky's what Wiley does. Sub-low was Johnny Cash's thing. Grime just became the universal way to describe how it sounded. So it made sense, I think. And people always say, oh, the media decided. Well, maybe so, but we only kind of go on what we're hearing and what's coming to us. I think we should have all seen it coming, the way it's kind of gone. Like, you know, we should have seen the danger signs in that, you know, garage got really big. They say the majors threw a lot of money at it. But at the end of the day, they didn't really understand it. And we can't just put all the blame on the record labels, though. We've got to take some responsibility ourselves, because the artists don't necessarily understand what they need to do to properly sell. If you look how much work Kano's done to sell 100,000 albums, it's a bit of an insult, to be honest, when you see people like Simon Webb selling 450,000. Because to me, that Kano album's like one of the best UK albums ever made. But the reality of the situation is, it's very, very, very hard to sell a UK artist outside of London. You need to put so much money into the marketing and getting them out there. You need to be doing like tours at every town. Like, I'm sure if you go to Cornwall or certain places like in Scotland, they still won't even know what grime is. People are very disillusioned that, you know, what's going on in their little area, you know, E3, N15, whatever, they think everyone else knows and everyone else cares, and the reality is they don't. And record companies, at the end of the day, they're thinking about profit. It's a business. So if you can't do business, you shouldn't be in it. You know, in that way. I mean, obviously music, you're in it because you love music, but I'm saying you shouldn't even be looking at that major label situation. And I think it's what people need to forget about it. I think it's obvious for me that after Dizzy got picked up, you'd probably see one or two more go, and that'd be it. And as far as I'm concerned, like, the doors are shut now.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see anyone else getting picked up, because I say, you look how hard it's been to sell Kano, and if you're saying that Kano and Dizzy are the best on the scene, they're both two artists who've done 100,000. I say the money you've had to put into it to sell those units, I don't know whether they've recouped or not. I really don't know. But I don't think a label will take the risk when you can sign up a band for probably the same money, just put a lot less into them, because bands are better at creating their own buzz and their own fan base, and then they're going to sell more units. And again, Roll Deep, you know, they would drop despite selling, what was it, 70,000, 60,000. You need more people getting, or more people just to up their business game. I think JME's like really starting to kind of, you know, make moves in that. And I think the way he's brought out, you know, his mixtape Timothy Striders, he's bringing out Wiley's album, that's like encouraging, and I think it's quite inspirational to other people. And they go, you know what, JME can do it. Why can't I do it? But I think people just need to do a bit more research. Don't just kind of go ahead into it. Go away, do a couple of courses, or read your books. There's a lot of books out there that tell you how to do it. And also move with the times, like utilise on new technology like the internet, because there's no excuses now. Like, we've built up the grime scene via the internet. That's how it's spread worldwide. So people can utilise that for their sales, their distribution. We've got a much stronger chance of things taking off, because at the moment we've got more nights abroad than we have here.